Hello? Today is Father's Day, and in celebration of ourselves who are now our own parents in adulthood, we're gonna go to LIDL, or Little, or I don't know how you say it. But anyway, I got this in the mail. It's a coupon, and you know I cannot resist my coupons. This time we get 10 off of 50. Let's see if we can just not spend 150. We're gonna take a very long walk, about an hour, to Astoria, which is my nearest little store. Is it LIDL or Little? Somebody tell me in the comments, please. So I don't think we're gonna have an issue staying within the $50 budget, but I just get really excited and sometimes I start grabbing shit and what you gonna do? This is like orgasmic for me. I got these two books yesterday off of a free cart at Remix Market in Long Island City. They are for Aaron, so I've invited Aaron to come shop with me so I can give him these books and also to have a helping hand to maybe help me calculate what the prices are as I buy things so that I don't end up buying $100 worth of things and having to walk it back with me for an hour. We'll see. The best laid plans of mice and men end in dead people. I'm gonna do my best to avoid that fate today, but you just don't know what life has in store for you sometimes, you know. One certainty though is death, so sooner or later. It's quite a lovely day today. I'm gonna put on some sunblock because I already got burnt yesterday because summer is delightful. It's actually my least favorite holiday. And I'm also gonna organize my fridge out a little bit so we make some space for the new stuff. Please come help me eat this food. Make things a little bit tidier. But what I take true delight in is clipping coupons. Let's give a moment of appreciation to clipping that coupon. We haven't even started walking yet and I'm already sweating out my pits. Who doesn't love this season? Best season ever. And you know they say never to go grocery shopping when you're hungry, so we're gonna eat some leftovers before we head out. Leftover pasta salad with some hard-boiled eggs from grandma. Not glamorous, it gets the job done. Plus, we get to free up some space in the fridge. Win-win for all.
Everywhere I go outside from April to September, I'm crying.
You're a little crybaby.
Yes. June. 99-cent waffle cones.
Are you getting?
I'm just to eat, like without even any ice cream, maybe.
Sesame Asian, that's me.
Yeah.
Here's your medieval boring shit.
Nice.
I tried to read a page of it, could not get through it. This is a delightful book.
Hey, we saw both of those in person.
Those are pretty famous ones, right?
Extremely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Ready? It's probably here in the middle of nowhere, Astoria, because the rent here is the cheapest. Because it took me an hour to walk here next to highways. Oh, peanuts! Okay. Whoa, look at this knockoff Lucky Charms. Bran Flakes! Bran Flakes! Bran Flakes! Raisin Bran!
It's in between songs, dude. You're talking in there.
Oat Loops.
Oat Loops.
Ooh, cookie butter! Aaron, I'm a little overwhelmed.
Yeah. Do you want a lot?
I can get scallions for cheaper in my neighborhood.
This is a terrible price.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed actually here.
Are you doing a limit? Oh, $50.
$3 for pasta is not that great.
I like the texture.
The texture looks like a penis. Ooh, are you gonna get a chocolate croissant? You don't think these look good?
These actually do look good for supermarket croissants, but not for bakery croissants. Do you have the LIDL app?
I don't do apps. I'm a boomer now. I think the lesson here is that TJ's has better prices. Now, overall, I was super not impressed with the prices at Lidl, is apparently how you say it. All of the grocery items were way more expensive than the prices that I have here in my neighborhood, about 10 minutes walk away from me. Even the specialty items just didn't really seem that exciting. The meat prices were absolutely awful, and you know they're not really happy meat. So I don't know what to say except pretty disappointed. That being said, let's look at our haul. Not as bad as H Mart, but it's still a lot carrying frozen scallops and fish sticks. But we made it. Now let's look at what we got and put it in the freezer before it's all spoiled. With our 10 off of 50 coupon, we ended up spending a total of $43.55. The prices are the prices before the coupon was applied. We got a bag of scallops for $7.85. We got some cured goat cheese for $6.99. I don't know what cured goat cheese is. It better be good because for $7, this is a tiny amount amount of cheese. We got a little bit of a pot sticker for grandma to try. I think she's gonna hate it, but she's just gonna have to give us a taste test now. And then we got a box of breaded fish sticks for $4.59. Now this is nostalgia for me. I haven't had fish sticks in probably over a decade and a half, and it just felt like time. We got this wine-soaked manchego cheese for $4.59 as well, and we got some Duke's flavored mustard. Unfortunately, I'm realizing I got a little bit ripped off here because on the receipt it says $3.29, but in store it was $1.99, so I overpaid for this sauce. A little bit bummed about that. You better be good. We got some frozen broccoli for $3.15. Again, not a great deal. I can get broccoli 99 cents per pound here. This bag is only 2 pounds, but we needed our vegetables, so there it is. We got a block of Scrapple for $3.12. Never really had Scrapple. I saw it. I was like, this is a weird thing. We should get it. So we got it. We got a tub of cottage cheese for $2.99. That's actually a pretty good deal. We got a bag of all-purpose flour for $2.39 for grandma's goodies and snacks. We also got a dozen of white eggs. Actually, no, we got 18 white eggs for $2.02. This is a great deal, but they are very sad chicken eggs. We got one of my favorite food items, fake crab meat for $1.85. We got 2 pounds of carrots for $1.79. We got a can of evaporated milk for $1.49 because who knows what I want to make with that flour. We got a little nub of ginger for 73 cents. And now to redeem myself from the H Mart video, I got another yucca root. This time we're gonna boil it first before doing anything else to it. That little piece was 57 cents at 89 cents a pound. Pretty good deal. And finally, we got some creamed corn for 75 cents. Overall, I think we did great. I think I really missed out on some of the desserts that were available there. I saw so many good baked goods that I just didn't really want to carry back in this heat. So maybe we'll go back next week. The thing about Lidl is that it's a direct competitor to Aldi. I feel like they're very similar stores with very similar branding and merchandising. They have everything that you need down to blankets, clothes, toiletries, I don't know, random shit. But you know, the food is okay. I just expected a little bit more. I think I was just really shocked, and Aaron was too, that some prices there were higher than Trader Joe's, which has way cuter branding and way better service. I'm pretty exhausted from that trip, so I think I'm just gonna eat some leftovers for the day today, and then we'll start cooking with these ingredients tomorrow. I do have a doctor's appointment in the morning tomorrow, so I'll meet you back here for lunch. I'm kind of excited to try those fish sticks, honestly. Hello. We have grandma'd, we've doctored, and we've gymmed, and we are now ready for some fish sticks. Why fish sticks, you ask? Well, I just feel like they remind me of childhood, and every once in a while, I would like to relive my childhood. At least the funner parts. And fish sticks, they weren't really always fun, but they were better than some of the other stuff that were served in my public school cafeteria, so this one is product of Germany. Don't I feel fancy now? Lidl had a lot of frozen fish products in store that I had a tough time choosing between, but this one has relatively few ingredients. Nostalgia. You really can't beat it. So it looks like we can either bake it in the oven or skillet pan fry it, but I'm thinking maybe we can air fry it. Looks like Lidl has a money back guarantee, so let's see if we like this, because they already ripped me off on that mustard pricing, you know? There are 15 sticks in this box, and they say one serving is 3 fish sticks, but you know that's not gonna be enough for me, so let's go with 5 sticks. Now, in addition to that, I think we're gonna need some vegetables because we're gonna need some vegetables. I'm thinking about maybe making myself a little shredded carrot salad, and we might air fry some of that broccoli alongside the fish. Usual preparation calls for stovetop steaming or microwaving, but we are trailblazers here. These are ginormous, my God. How are you expected to eat a piece this big? Smells like fish sticks, not in a bad way. Smells toasty, golden, soggy. I'm gonna set it to 400 degrees and let it go for about 10 minutes. We'll see how that turns out for both our veggie and our fish sticks. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and wash and peel 2 carrots and shred them up. We're gonna dress them very simply, maybe in a little bit of that mustard that we got overcharged for. For saltiness, creaminess, and tang, we're gonna go in with a little bit of cottage cheese, and yes, you might be yucking my yum right now, but I think this is gonna work quite nicely, especially when we put in some Raisin Bran raisins I had picked out from my previous box of Raisin Bran. Repurposing raisins from Raisin Bran, I think it's kinda genius. cereal's way too sweet anyway. You can definitely use that sugar elsewhere. You know what? Gotta hand it to them. They did really put actual fillets of meat in here. You can taste the flakiness, the cohesion of meat rather than just, you know, a hodgepodge of meat scraps. Pretty good. It's a little bit fishy, not as fishy or fried or salty as I remember them being. So I would feel like this is a relatively healthier version of the versions that I've grown up with. I like it. So is this mustard worth the $3.29? I guess so, if I'm not being too scrimpy about it. This is a really nice mustard. It's got tang, it's got heat, it's got a little bit of oldness to it. Gives me a little bit of story and depth, and it's not very acidic either. Do I love it? In due time, I might. Think of this as a cross between a spicy brown mustard and a Dijon. The air fryer did a nice job on the broccoli. It gave me toasted tidbits on the floret heads. The stalks are nice and tender. Dipped in a little bit of mustard. You don't really need much else in terms of seasoning. The breading on the fish sticks is nice and crispy on the outside, a little bit soggy on the inside, and overall I think it's quite cohesive and well done. And now the time has come for us to taste my salad concoction. You know what? I think all it needs is some freshly ground black pepper. The vinegar from the mustard really pops through and commingles with that gummy, jammy raisin that's coated in a little bit of sugar that has since dissolved into the carrots. And overall, I think we got a good vibe going. It's nice and balanced, and if you're not a fan of dessert, you can count this one as dessert because it kind of has cheese and dried fruit in it, which is kind of like a cheese board, isn't it? It's not mind-blowingly good, but it's comforting and it's nice and easy. Didn't take more than 10 minutes, and we are done. Except for cleaning, of course. And honestly, any meal that gives me an excuse to use my hands to eat is a winner in my book. Have you ever wondered how fish sticks might taste with raisins and cottage cheese on it? Well, wonder no more. I'm here to solve that mystery. I don't know why, but I don't hate it. It kind of tastes like a Raisin Bran muffin with all the wrong textures in it, but it feels so right. Something about the crunchy coating on the fish sticks with that gumminess of the raisins with the kind of cloddiness of the cheese. Weird, but delightful. I would recommend you try this and write me a hate comment down below. I feel like raisins in savory applications is severely underrated. And if it ever leans too much in the sweet direction, all you have to do is dab on more of that mustard and you are right back in savory territory. I'm keeping my standards for life very low these days. I'm gonna give this meal a 4 out of 5. I would eat this again any day. I'm gonna clean up, go do some laundry and work, and I'll meet you back here for dinner. What is in store for us next? 4 hours have passed. I did my laundry. I melted a lip balm all over that newly laundered clothing. Mondays be Mondays. And now I'm showered and ready for dinner. To make things even more complicated for myself, I really want homemade tortillas right now. It's gonna take some time, but I'm thinking quesadilla. I do have that huge bag of flour that I'm thinking up of ways to use, but let's be honest, I just want to eat the cheese. And quesadilla is a vessel for cheese. Now to jazz up this absolutely bonkers quesadilla to be, we're gonna slice up some scrapple. We're gonna air fry it alongside some broccoli and carrots, and that's gonna be going inside the quesadilla. Now, I've never had scrapple before, but Aaron saw this and he was like, you know what? Look at the ingredients. It's actually not that bad. There's not really preservatives in there, and it just seems like straight up pork byproduct. And Wikipedia tells me that this is qualified as a category of food known as mush, which is anything cooked down with cornmeal, solidified into a block, which you can then slice and eat. Looking forward to trying our first ever scrapple. The dough for homemade tortillas often has to sit and rest for a while before you can roll it out, so we're gonna start with that dough. Ingredients are pretty simple. You need flour, you need some sort of fat agent, either lard or butter or oil, and you need some baking powder and salt, and probably a little bit of water or milk. I'm gonna go with milk because grandma keeps giving me all these milk cartons that I don't know what to do with, so this will be perfect. We're gonna combine all our dries, that's the flour, salt, and baking powder, and we're going to mix it until everything's nice and combined. Then we're going to cut in our fat, just a little bit of coconut oil in my case. Once your dough is crackly like this, we're gonna stream in the milk. I think this dough looks a little too wet, so I'm gonna add in a little bit of flour. We want the dough to be smooth and cohesive, but definitely not sticky like this. This feels about right, and we're just gonna keep kneading it until the dough is a little bit smoother so we can develop the gluten slightly more. We're going to divide our dough into 4 pieces. We're gonna tuck them until they're nice and smooth and rounded, and we're gonna let them rest for 20 minutes before we roll them out. In the meantime, we're gonna cut up our carrots. We're gonna lay them in our air fryer with our scrapple and broccoli, and we're gonna let it roast until it's nice and tender. To really give our quesadillas some texture, I'm going to be peeling the carrots and not really cutting them into shapes. It might be a little bit too disturbing to find chunks of carrot in your quesadilla. Have I done this before? No, but that's what's fun about it, huh? As for these, they can be snacks. I like to use a clean reusable plastic bag. I like to sandwich that dough ball in between the 2 layers of plastic and roll it out. I like to untuck the plastic on both sides as I roll it out so that the crinkles from the plastic bag doesn't transfer onto the tortilla and impress them. I used quite a bit of coconut oil in here to make that dough really nice and supple and rich. Also, this way it doesn't stick to the bag no matter how much you fuss it up. I'm gonna take my cast iron pan, place it over medium heat, let it get nice and hot until my fingers can feel the heat from an inch off of that surface level, and then we're going to smooth that tortilla right on over and wait for bubbles to emerge on top. Once you see the bubbles, flip. Yes, it's hot. Yes, you need heat-proof fingers, and if you don't have them, time to hurt yourself. JK, don't do that. Or do that if you're into it. You know, I'm not gonna keep you from your masochistic ways. Once the tortilla has just the lightest golden brown spots on both sides, transfer it to a flat surface and put a towel over it so that it doesn't dry out as you sit. I think I only need 1 quesadilla for tonight, so I'm gonna put the other 2 tortilla dough balls in the fridge in this bag. Once our tortillas are cooked, our scrapple is also nice and toasty, we're gonna assemble everything together. But before we get to that, we're gonna have to taste some cheese. Just as a reminder, the 7-ounce goat cheese was $7, meaning this rings in at $1 per ounce, which is quite hefty for me. But you know, YOLO. It smells a little bit like wet cardboard and yogurt. It just tastes like slightly more acidic goat howda. Not bad. I'm just not sure if it's worth the price, you know. Next up, a little manchego washed in wine. This smells a little bit like manchego cheese, but with a little bit of spoiled cherry liqueur, which I guess is what wine is, huh? And since I'm single and can do whatever I want, I don't like it. It has the softness of grainy mozzarella. It does not taste anything like aged manchego. It has a very spineless feel to it, both in terms of texture and taste. Overall, I think out of the 2, this is definitely the more interesting cheese. But as far as quesadilla goes, both of them will work just fine. And you know what? I think I taste the wine in this. Maybe it'll hit me soon. Are we ready for a taste test of the scrapple? I will just say it smells offensively organ-y. Borderline unctuously bad. But you know what? For science. Okay, not terrible. I take it back. I take everything back. If you like pig trotters, pig ears, head meat, you will like this. It makes me feel like I've been out shepherding my sheep for about 7 hours and I'm ready to come in and just settle down to a nice big slab of this. I guess some may choose to say it's hearty. It's a very hearty thing to eat. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of herb and spice just to jazz the flavors up a little bit more. My first impression of this is tortillas are a little bit too dry and the scrapple is overwhelming in taste. Not complaining about it though, it has a fantastic flavor, but I do feel like we might need a little bit of that mustard to balance out everything. The second wave of flavor is coming from the goat cheese. You have a little bit of that gaminess, that sweetness, that creaminess, and then the texture is the third thing to hit me. The texture of that soft carrot, soft broccoli against that kind of crinkled tortilla crust. I'm a fan. The wine manchego is the last note to hit. It kind of washes over my mouth after I've swallowed my bite. A little floral quality to the entire bite so that it offsets that gaminess of pork mush. That mustard was worth it. Guess I'll catch you all tomorrow. It's turning out to be a very busy Tuesday, so I have a lot of homework to do, and I'm gonna make this lunch a very quick one. We're gonna make some fish taco. We have our flour tortilla dough from yesterday that I'm gonna roll out and make little tortillas out of, and I'm gonna air fry some of our fish sticks so that we can use it as the fish and fish tacos. In the meantime, I'm going to shred some of our carrots, and I'm gonna mix it with our mustard and, yep, cottage cheese, and we're gonna have a lunch. To our carrot slaw, I'm also going to add in a little bit of black lime for tart acidity and some silk chili for a little bit of spice and savoriness. We're gonna mix it all together until everything's incorporated, and then we're gonna roll out our tortillas. I'm gonna take one dough ball and portion it into 3 smaller ones. That way we can have 3 smaller tortillas. I want to take the time to really roll out each segmented mini dough into a round. That way it's a circle. If you don't roll it out, it's not going to be a circle, and then you're going to look unhappy. Because our society desires perfection, which is man-made and artificial, but still, we hold ourselves to these standards and we think less of ourselves when we don't meet them. Maybe you should just make ugly tortillas. Fuck it. We're gonna take our cast iron pan and place it over medium heat, wait until that pan gets nice and hot, and then we're gonna cook all 3 at the same time. I'm gonna try to err on the side of undercooking these tortillas today since we overcooked them yesterday, so we'll see. I want that soft, slightly gummy interior, you know? I think what I'm gradually discovering is that fish sticks make my life very easy. I like eating them. They are crispy, they are tender, they are flaky, golden brown, and delicious. And all you have to do is warm them up, throw them in something or not, dip them in something or not. The tortilla, nice and soft, slightly doughy, a little bit sweet from the coconut oil. The carrot providing a little bit of crisp crunch. The cottage cheese, creaminess and smooth texture. The fish stick, perfect, really, as a food. And our MVP this week might just be that overcharged Duke's mayo that I got. It's providing the right amount of mustard feel, freshness, a little bit of singy bitterness, a little bit of vinegariness, saltiness, and sweetness. I didn't have any fresh lime wedges to squeeze juice over, but the black lime flakes are doing their job. Nice little pops of citric acidness. Goes really well with that fried feel. This feels like a fish taco with actual pieces of fish. I don't know why I'm rating these meals, but I'm gonna give this one a 5 out of 5. Ease, speediness, taste, overall satisfying. We've really got to give it up for keeping expectations low and consistently exceeding them. I'll see you for dinner time with Samira. For dinner, I want to cook up something that's not quite as trashy for Samira because, you know, she's my friend and I care about her and I can't really feed her fish stick tortillas, can I? Maybe I can. I feel like Samira would be fine with it. But anyway, we're gonna make scallops. I'm also thinking I'm gonna make some corn saffron scones. I'm also not gonna use a recipe for this because it's kind of my thing now, you know? But I was looking at this choice of cream style sweet corn that I got and I was like, what can I use this for? And also this year, I want to train myself to start liking things that I previously did not, like saffron. Saffron has always tasted a little bit like pool water, just really strange. But this one actually smells sweet and floral, a little bit cherry-like and plum-like, and a little bit rosy and chrysanthemum-y, and just overall prettier than the previous saffrons I've smelled. So saffron corn biscuits, saffron corn scones, whatever you want to call it. We're basically gonna put flour, salt, baking powder, and sugar in a bowl, mix it. I'm also gonna grate in a little bit of nutmeg for added savoriness. And then in a separate bowl, we're gonna bloom our saffron in some warm milk. I'm gonna use no more than 4 just because I'm a little bit scared of this flavor and I wanna just take baby steps into it, you know? It's pretty strong, it's nice and golden. Then we're gonna go ahead and cut in 4 tablespoons of butter. You should probably be using more than this, but this is all I have right now. Once your flour is well incorporated with the butter with still nuggets of the butter inside, we're gonna drizzle in our milk and add in our corn. We've got about 40 grams of milk and a 1/4 cup of our corn. As far as the dough, tastes pretty good. I'm gonna line the bottom of our cast iron pan with sesame seeds to prevent sticking and to add extra nuttiness. We'll sprinkle it with extra salt and sugar on top for presentation and taste and texture, and then we'll slide it into a 350 oven and let it bake until it's cooked. I'm guessing anywhere between 20 and 25. And since you know I can't stand just baking one thing in the oven at one time, we're also gonna throw some broccoli on a tray and just let them defrost and roast in there. The remaining pieces in the bag are so ginormous. I guess this is one one of the ways that I can defrost them. Maybe we can make like a cream of broccoli soup to go along with everything tonight. For our cream of broccoli soup, I'm gonna take our defrosted broccoli, I'm going to place it in a pot with a little bit of oil and freshly chopped garlic, and we're going to let it sear a little bit until we get some nice golden bits. Then I'm gonna stream in some of grandma's milk, and we're just gonna let it cook until the broccoli is nice and softened, and I'm gonna immersion blend it. Season it to taste. In the meantime, we're gonna defrost some scallops, and we're gonna peel 2 carrots and slice them into scallop-like shapes. The best way for us to thaw this is either in the fridge overnight or in cold running water. Let's go with the second one. We're gonna cook down the carrots in a little bit of olive oil. We're gonna place our carrots along with some freshly chopped garlic and spices and salt and saffron just to infuse that oil with the flavor. We want the carrots to be nice and golden and ready when the scallops go in because we do not want to overcook the scallops. Scallops into the pan and let it sear on both sides until it's nice and golden. We're gonna also add in a little bit of ginger to cut through that seafoodiness. Do you want some miso in the scallops?
That sounds good, right?
I want it in the scallops.
Yeah.
All right, miso it is. I want to believe that there's a friendly ghost in here. I was filming yesterday, and in the kitchen the light flickered. I don't know, maybe when I play back the footage I can see the flicker, or maybe I'm hallucinating. Maybe I'm smoking too much weed. That's good. Can't promise you any of this is gonna taste good, but it's passable. LIDL. I've discovered that's how you say it, is LIDL.
I was gonna call it LIDL.
Yeah, I call it LIDL too because it looks like a LIDL. So I hope this scone is good. I obviously did not use a recipe, so I have no idea how good or not good it is, but we'll see. We're so cute, out of focus in the background. You like? Scallops are way too salty, but it works well with the broccoli soup. I live and I learn. Are the carrots tender? Yeah. What do you think?
It's cute until I get food on myself.
I think the scallops taste a little fishy, but they're frozen scallops.
How did I not know you were left-handed?
What?
We're sitting on the wrong side of each other.
It always happens this way. You didn't know I was left-handed? I like the carrots. I think they're tender, but they still have a little bit of like crunch. And then they're nice and sweet against the too salty scallop.
That's good.
It's good? It's not scone as much as it is cake.
It's so good.
You like it?
Yes, I love it. That's so good.
It's like cornbread.
Yeah, but better.
Cornbread, but better with no cornmeal. Well, there's corn in here, but no cornmeal. So maybe that's why you don't like cornbread, is the cornmeal part, grainy. I think this is pretty moist.
No, this is so good.
I like the crunchy sugar topping. And did you see the bottom that's covered with sesame? I like that it has that cream corn taste without being overwhelming.
Oh, this is so good.
This is a win. I can't believe I did this without a recipe. That's hilarious. This is a 12 out of 10. This exceeded my expectations. I was like, I'm gonna serve Samira a rock.
The texture is like perfect.
I'm so happy.
It's like pillowy.
You should take home some.
Can I have seconds?
You can have the whole pan.
No.
Tell us about these chips, Samira.
They're yummy.
They're yummy.
They're nice and thin. I like the texture.
They're like baked Lay's shaped.
Yeah.
They're like hexagonal. Fascinating.
You like it?
I love them. The crunch is so fantastic. Whoa. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Wait, how would they taste as scoopers?
That's my favorite thing.
With a scallop and a carrot on top? Ooh, they're hefty too. They can hold up to weight.
Good?
They do remind me of baked Lay's a lot. The crunch of it is like very light.
I like their crisp better. Like the way that it crisps. Crunches.
Well, I think the baked Lay's have way more of a dry, flaky consistency. They taste like they've been glued together from the powder of potatoes.
And this doesn't.
This tastes like fortified potatoes.
Yeah.
I will say they taste good with scallops on top, that's for sure. Not sure if I taste the cheese flavor though. What are the ingredients? Dehydrated potatoes, potato starch, cheese powder, and then a shit ton of stuff that's definitely good for you. Actually, this might be one way to never die. Just keep eating preservatives and you'll become it, you know? Good morning and welcome to Hump Day. Today we will begin by taking Grandma some dumplings. I have homemade dumplings and I have store-bought dumplings. Which one will Grandma like more? wait to see. I'm gonna be dropping 3 of my smaller homemade dumplings alongside 2 of the larger store-bought dumplings into a pot of boiling water, and we're gonna let them cook until they float and go for a minute more. The small ones will probably cook faster than the larger ones, so we'll take them out as they are done. I'll also be frying up some donuts for Grandma because she likes her donuts.
有2种饺子，一个小的，一个大的，尝一尝，告诉我哪个更喜欢吃。怎么样感觉？
好，我尝试小的啊。
啊，尝尝小的。
这小的好，是肉馅儿。
大的也是肉的，大的是鸡肉，
哦，
小的是猪肉。
2样都好。
都喜欢吃是吧？
It's a busy day today. After Grandma tasted the dumplings, I took her out on a walk. I came back and I was like, I'm gonna snack on a few pistachios for breakfast. And the breakfast turned out to be the entire bag of pistachios, so we're gonna make ourselves a proper lunch right now. I'm thinking we still have that one tortilla dough left. We can take that, roll it out into a burrito-sized wrap, and make ourselves a breakfast burrito. For the fillings, we're gonna cook up some scrapple along with some eggs. We'll cook up some broccoli, and there's cottage cheese and mustard sauce, and we're just gonna make it work. No beans, no rice, but lots of pork product. As it turns out, because scrapple is a mush food, if you cook it too much and stir it too much, it turns into mush. We're gonna season it, of course. So we're gonna turn the heat off and let the fond lift off by itself. Transfer that to a bowl, oil the skillet a little bit, and then we'll cook our eggs. And then we'll chop up our broccoli and let that sear a little bit too, along with some seasonings. I think we did good, y'all. It's barely wrapped on one end, but the cumin works surprisingly well with the scrapple, and the little bit of spiciness that's in there really cuts out that greasiness that comes from all the organy bits. The broccoli is nice and tender with a little bit of char taste. The cottage cheese nice and cooling and creamy. The eggs almost disappear into the mushy texture of almost everything else, including the tortilla, which is nice and sweet and a little bit bouncy and slightly al dente. And once again, that mustard is pulling through to really tie everything together. The mustard interacts with the scrapple in such a way that it tastes like a smoked ham, slightly barbecuey, and adds a very grilled note to it, which I am a big fan of. I think maybe because all of the scrapple got glued to the skillet and we got all of those nice burny, browny, delicious bits, that's what's adding that slightly smoky flavor as well. All in all, I'm a huge fan of this. Look at that cottage cheese just peeking through. Cottage cheese is underrated, y'all. Try it today. I'm also pretty pleased at how the tortillas came out. I think coconut oil was the right move. It has a very floral, fragrant nuttiness to it that gives it almost a dessert curve. Not quite sweet, but not quite savory. I'm gonna clean up and do some dishes. I'm gonna go try and get some work done. And then for dinner, we're gonna meet up with Justin and Elmhurst at Taste Good for some Malaysian noms. This is one of my favorite restaurants in Queens. It is very accessible in terms of price. Bring cash, bring cash. If you come to Queens and you're not bringing cash, you're not eating shit, okay? Taste Good was introduced to me by a friend many years ago, maybe almost 10 years ago. It is one of the most affordable places to eat in the city. Even for Queens, the prices are dang good. In this economy, come on, bring cash. This is the last time I'm gonna warn you, they only take cash. The first thing that we ordered was this rojak salad, vegetables and fruit tossed with homemade shrimp paste, covered in crackers and crushed peanuts.
There's crunchies too.
There's shrimp crackers, I think they
Yeah, and then
advertise it
peanuts and sesame.
Whoa.
Can I serve you?
Yeah, please. Thank you. What a beauteous shop. Thank you.
I actually really love how this looks.
Well, it is very dark and molassesy. There's pineapple.
Radish, it seems like.
And there were some very interesting ingredients in there that I couldn't quite pick out.
It tastes seafoody.
Yes.
But I don't think it is. We can ask.
No, I can keep it a mystery. Whoa.
I really like it.
Good choice.
You pointed it out.
Good common mutual decision. Do it to it. Is it like a tortilla chip?
Thank you. I'm
Thank
certainly.
you.
It tastes corny in my mouth right now.
Corny in your mouth.
Yes.
Okay.
The second thing that we ordered was a plate of roti canai with a nice little chicken curry and
So this is the awesome laksa. These are the pieces of fish.
Did they say what fish it is?
I don't really know. It's like a flaky fish, not quite white meat,
Yeah.
but not quite
It looks like
salmon-y.
it could be canned tuna, but it probably isn't.
Maybe. There's pineapple in here. There's a lot of shredded cucumber. All of the rice noodles are like fat. They're so slithery and so fat, and the soup is very tart, and you have little bits of mint and onion to cut through the seafood vibes. The roti canai comes with, oh wow,
There's chicken in it.
yeah, we were very lucky today. There usually is just one piece of chicken, and today there's two. There's also potato in here, so there you have it.
now obviously towards the end of our meal, I just start mashing everything together, and can I tell you, those chips with that brown sauce and that curry sludge tastes delightful. You're just gonna have to trust me on this one. Just dip everything in everything and let life be messy.
You should try the noodles in the sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't tell if I wasn't hungry or if that is just a good amount of food for two people. I think because we were also eating stuff.
I woke up today and the first thought I had was, this ain't it. I had about 7 hours of sleep, but it is super, super cloudy and rainy outside all day today, and I'm just not feeling it. That being said, I also know that I have a super packed weekend, so today we're just gonna stay indoors and cook. I'm hoping that I can prep some food so I can eat leftovers on the weekends when I just need to grab a bite and go. We started off the day by making some YOUTIAO dough for grandma. She loves these donuts and she can't be without them for a single day, so flour, baking powder, baking soda, sugar, salt, milk, mixy mix, we got the dough. And speaking of doughs, I kind of want to try to make a broccoli pasta of sorts. Now we have that frozen broccoli and it is humongous. So I think we're gonna puree it down until we have a smooth paste. Once we have our pureed broccoli, we're gonna add in an egg, we're gonna add in some salt, maybe some spices as well, and then we're gonna fold in flour until the dough is cohesive. I don't want the dough sticking to my hands, but I also don't want it too dry so that it's cracking on its own. If the dough is sticking to your fingers, it's time to add in a little bit more flour. Malleable dough that we can then turn into pasta. This looks pretty good to me, so we're gonna plop it in our plastic bag and let it sit at room temperature for about half an hour. In the meantime, let's hard boil some eggs to make some deviled eggs. When it comes to boiling eggs, I always go with boiling water, cold eggs. This ensures that the whites set and the yolks don't overcook. Cooking cold eggs in hot water also seems to give me better results when peeling, so if you want a clean peel, I think this is the way to go. If you want to go for extra credit, you can take a little pinprick to the bottom of each egg, but that's just too much trouble for me today. I'm gonna go ahead and boil 8 eggs, and I'm gonna take 4 of them out at the 6.5 minute mark. That way we still have some medium set eggs. The rest we'll let to go for 8.5 to 9 minutes for a heavy set. For our boiled eggs, we're gonna chill them in cold water until they're completely cool, and then we'll crack them, peel them, and have them. If you ever have trouble peeling an egg, I highly recommend that you crack the shell all around until the shell basically starts to unravel itself. Naturally, it'll release easy breezy like this. We're gonna pop the yolks out and mix it with a little bit of mayo, our mustard, and some cottage cheese and spices seasoned to taste. Needs a little something extra. Once I'm happy with how our egg yolk mixture tastes, we're gonna try to cut a corner of this raisin bag to make room for a little bit of a piping tip, and we're gonna try to pipe this filling. I don't know if this is gonna work, but I don't feel like wasting a Ziploc bag for this. Take care to not trim your tip too wide, because then your tip might fall through. As for the leftover filling, this can go in our pasta salad. Thank you for your service, raisin bag. Now, I think these eggs are already very pretty, but it never really hurts to put some garnish on top, does it? Nice amount of mustard, nice creaminess, a little bit of sweetness from the cottage cheese and the egg yolks, tempered by the saltiness of all our crunchy toppings. Maybe one more, maybe a one-biter.
Yuppie mayo, if you haven't tried it, what are you waiting for?
We put sweet, smoked, and hot paprika in here, and you can taste all three. A little bit of that summer barbecue feel. There is something so pleasing about the mouthfeel of deviled eggs. It just makes you want to gorge on them. It's almost like savory ice cream. Next up, pasta. I found this little cavatelli making board, and I think we're gonna use this to make our pasta shapes. We're gonna dust our vessel with some flour to prevent stickage, and then we're gonna dust everything with a little bit of flour to prevent stickage. I'm gonna divide our lump of dough in half each half into quarters, rolling it out into a thin rope, then dividing that rope into 1/2-inch pieces. We're going to take each piece of cut dough and roll it along that board to form that shape. It is crucial to keep each piece well floured so that nothing sticks to each other. The last thing you want to do is spend all this time forming your pasta and then have all of them glue next to each other. I'm gonna set a pot of water to boil. We're gonna boil our little cavatelli until they're nice and al dente. We'll fish them out, let them cool off a little bit, and then we'll toss it very simply with, I don't know, whatever we have. The only thing that I can really think of adding some jazz to is our chopped carrots. In a pan over medium heat, I'm gonna sear them in a little bit of olive oil. We're gonna season them with a little bit of herbs and spices, as well as some mustard and honey. I'm gonna go with some hot honey for intrigue. Because this is fresh pasta, it does not need anywhere near the amount of cooking time as dry pasta might. While our pasta is still steaming hot, I'm going to stir in our deviled egg leftover mixture so that it can coat to season. I'm also gonna hit it with a lot of herbs. We'll stir in our honeyed mustard carrots, and we'll wait to let this cool before we add in our cheeses. And I have decided that with this remaining starchy pasta water, we can make a scallop chowder. I'm gonna go ahead and defrost this in running cold water while I go fetch whatever else we can put into this chowder. I'm gonna keep our pasta water at a medium heat simmer, and then I'm gonna grate in some fresh ginger. The scallops have a bit of that seafoody taste. They're not quite so fresh, so the ginger will help wick away some of that fishiness. I'm going to let this pasta water condense and cook off a little bit so that we have a little bit of a thicker base to start with. In the meantime, I'm gonna go in with some herbs so that they have time to rehydrate, and I'm gonna chop up our carrots and put them in there so that they can start getting nice and tender. Next, we'll go in with some corn and milk. Because our chowder isn't quite thick enough, I'm gonna throw some flour into our scallops along with some salt and pepper and seasonings. That way, the scallops are coated in a thin layer of starch that will then disintegrate into the broth, thickening it as it cooks. This chowder is kind of a bittersweet dish for me. I bought the scallops because mom used to cook them for me all the time. She insisted that they were really good for me, so she cooked them for me almost every weekend when I visited her. And clam chowder was one of her favorite American foods because of how creamy it was. So this is like an ode to mom and all the things that she loved and loved to love. The best part about this chowder is that taste of sweet corn strewn throughout every single sip. The carrots are so nicely tender. They are not mushy, but they don't have much crunch left to them. All they are, a pleasing, earthy, sweet component, mixing so well with the herbs and the seafood. The milkiness is not overpowering, but present, combines very nicely with that creamed corn taste. The scallops have shrunken to a chopped clam bit piece size. It makes it even more reminiscent of what mom loved to eat. For our pasta salad, we're gonna just crumble in some goat cheese and mix it until it's well combined. Smells good. Smells Italian-esque. So maybe good, maybe promising. The pasta is still super al dente. It's soaked up a lot of flavors from both the carrot sauce with the hot honey and the mustard, as well as the little seasonings that we splattered on top. You can't really taste the deviled eggs mixture in here, but you can taste some sort of creaminess that isn't just coming from the goat cheese. I'm a fan of this. There's a little sweet from the honeyed carrots. There's a little bit tart from the goat cheese. There's a little gumminess from the pasta. Textures, flavors, enjoyment. 9 out of 10. This is only gonna get better as it sits in the fridge, so I look forward to it tomorrow. So far, I've loved all 3 things we've made today, but I think I want to reach for one more item. Samira really loved the scones that I made. I'm gonna try another variation of that same scone, even though I don't have the recipe for it. We're gonna wing it by eye, and this time, we're gonna add in some goat cheese as well. In addition to the corn and the milk, we're gonna add some crumbled goat cheese, as well as a little bit of honey. First things first, we're gonna go ahead and bloom our saffron. Next, we're gonna mix together some flour, baking powder, salt, sugar, a little bit of nutmeg. We're gonna stir the dries until everything's nice and combined, and then we're gonna go in with our oils. Now, because I don't have butter anymore, we're gonna go in with a mixture of olive oil and coconut oil. This won't be quite as cold as our original scone mixture, so I'm very fascinated to see what the differences might be. Once the oils are evenly distributed, we're gonna go in with our honey, our corn, our cheese, mix it all in until everything's mostly combined, and then stream in our saffron milk. We're trying to hold off introducing moisture as late as possible. That way we have reduced gluten formation, meaning as tender as you can hope to get with this kind of recipe. It looks really good, but I'm gonna shower first before we eat. I'm back and I'm ready to scone. This scone looks a little bit denser than the other one, probably because we didn't use cold butter and we used oils instead. Plus there's a little extra honey which added even more moisture, and cheese as well, so we'll see. Very interesting. The first scone reminded me of cornbread, a very moist, delicate, perfectly balanced cornbread. This one, on the other hand, reminds me of a fast food biscuit, like a Popeyes biscuit. It's a little bit salty, it's a little bit dense, it turns a little bit mushy in your mouth as you chew, and it kind of chokes you a little bit. The crumb is still very delicate, it's not at all gummy, but it is extremely moist. I can taste the coconut oil. I can't really taste the corn that much anymore, but I do get that honey, buckwheat honey, very dark, slightly molassesy, combining with that funkiness of the goat cheese. On the crust end of all of these scones, you have this delightfully feathery crunch, slightly buttery, slightly pie crusty. I don't know what I've made here, but I like it. All of that to say, this might be like in my normal rotation now, just blind baking scones. I love it. I love the sugary crunch on top and the sesame pop on the bottom. 10 out of 10. Good job, June. Happy Friday. We've gone to grandma, we've gone to the doctors, we've taken a meeting, we've gone to the gym, and now we are ready to eat some leftovers. Do you see how great leftovers can be? Man, that coconut flavor of the scones really come out the day after. Just as good as yesterday. Since I'll be running around this weekend to some food shows, I probably won't have enough energy or time to cook, so today we're gonna brainstorm what to make with our remaining ingredients. There are those imitation crab meat sticks that we still haven't touched yet, and you know, even though we have a lot of flour left, I'm kind of bored of using up the flour, so I think we should make something with the eggs. I'm thinking, what if we made a really thin omelet wrap with eggs and then wrapped our crab meat inside with other whatevers we have left. Maybe a little cheese, maybe a little carrot. Very simply, I'm gonna take 2 eggs, beat them in a bowl until it's nice and smooth and combined. We're gonna season it with salt and whatever else you want to season it with. Then we're going to take our cast iron pan, put it over medium heat, wait for it to get evenly heated throughout, get a little bit of oil on the bottom there, and then we're going to pour our egg mixture in, spreading it by tilting the pan and making sure everything cooks evenly. As soon as you see the sides of the egg omelet start to peel away from the pan, it's ready. But if you have some denser spots that have uncooked egg, you can move your cast iron pan over the fire to concentrate the heat over there. If the surface looks matte for the most part, I'm gonna pull it off the heat. Next, I'm going to lay down a layer of cottage cheese, a little bit of our mustard, as well as some shredded carrots. We're gonna grate on a little fresh ginger just to complement our fake crab meat. Now this package says a fully cooked fish protein, and I'm going to use it out of the package, but I know mom is frowning upon me. I know she would have heated this to death, but you know what? YOLO. I don't know about this packaging though. That's one way to do it. It comes individually packaged. Cute. Let's do 2. And then we're just gonna fold up the sides, kind of like a burrito. Not quite as photogenic as I had hoped for, but this half is pretty structurally intact for the most part. All I can say is it's not bad, but it's a little bit confusing. We've got some kind of French element going on here with the omelet. We got some American vibes from the cottage cheese. There's some like faux Asian vibes from the fake crab meat, but the raw carrots, I think, very distracting. Not sure if I'm a fan, sadly. The mustard in here is kind of taking the place of wasabi in like a sushi context, but it's also not quite wasabi, and the egg wrapper isn't quite a tortilla, and the carrot isn't quite a salad, and the crab isn't quite crab, and the cottage cheese isn't quite cheese, so it's just very confusing, y'all. I think, you know, if I didn't just eat 2.5 pounds of pistachios off camera and I were still hungry, this would read as acceptable to me. Right now, it reads kind of like a borderline failure. Not gonna lie, this might be my least favorite dish so far of this week, but I do like all the components separately. Something about them being together just isn't quite doing it for me. Am I still gonna eat it? I think maybe ultimately the scrapple might have been the better protein of choice to go inside this strange omelet burrito wrap, but the idea isn't bad. The flavor combo is questionable. I don't know, maybe that was mom's way of saying I told you so. Maybe I should have seared that crab meat. It's so weird how mom's still right, even when she's dead. How did they do that? What is this witchery? Next up, I'm gonna try to make a simple childhood favorite. Every time my mom and my dad and I went out to eat at a Chinese restaurant, there would always be this huge bowl of corn soup. Sometimes the corn soup would have little strands of beaten egg floating around it, kind of like an egg drop soup and a creamed corn soup had a baby together. So, you know, I'm thinking the rest of this canned corn and a beaten egg, maybe a single serving soup. To make it a little more exciting and to make sure I get my veggies in, I'm gonna shred in this half remaining quarter of a carrot. So I guess that makes it 1/8 of a carrot. We're gonna pour our corn in, and then we're gonna rinse out this can with about a 1/2 cup of water, and we're gonna stir in some cornstarch. That way, once our corn is up to a boil, we can stream in this slurry and make it thicker. While the soup is simmering and reducing, we're going to crack 1 egg into a bowl and beat it very well. Now, because there's already salt in our canned corn, I'm not going to add any more at this point, but you should always season to taste after the dish is done. We don't have a lot of liquid in this soup pot, but I'm still going to try to make a little torpedo inside the liquid, and then we're gonna shut off the heat, stream in the eggs, lid it so that we trap some of the steam to help the eggs cook, and let it sit for about 3 to 4 minutes. I was so excited when I lifted the lid and it smelled exactly like the soup from my childhood, and that's the moment I realized all the restaurants were probably just using canned corn. Anyway, it looks pretty legit to me. Eggs could have been a little bit less clumpy and a little bit lighter, fluffier, more ethereal, but we make do. We did well. Could use a touch more salt, or it could use a touch of MSG. Perfect. And if you're afraid of MSG, you should not be watching my videos anyway. To be fair, I don't think MSG belongs in everything. I think here though, it contributes a slightly caramelized, slightly fire grilled charred corn taste to the soup, which I enjoy very much. We got some pieces of strandy, strippy eggs. That sounded so wrong. Brings me back to some childhood good eats. Love those times. We gotta give thanks to some food memories. They keep us going for the entire lifetime. And you know, to redeem myself from a mishap 6 months ago, we're gonna try to cook yuca again. This time, we're gonna strip it, we're going to chop it, we're gonna boil it, and then we'll do stuff to it because, you know, boil it so that you don't die. Should I keep this?
What were you doing with it? I want to keep the liquid. The first round of cassava that I made was for the H Mart video, and I didn't know you were supposed to boil it. Apparently there's 2 kinds of yuca, and one kind is more toxic than the other. There's a center portion here. You see this? Like,
Oh, yeah,
this you should not keep. This is like maybe cyanide. I'm not sure. There's one kind where it will literally kill you if you don't cook it right. Now I think we should taste it.
Tastes like a potato.
Starchy and somewhat sticky. I think the liquid is fine to drink, but a lot of sources are like, discard the liquid. But you know how a lot of sources also tell you to like cut 8 inches off of an asparagus? And you don't need to. We're just gonna mash this, and then I'm gonna try to make something. It's a little bit too moisture filled, so we're gonna set it back on the heat and cook it down until it's more paste-like. It's turning into like a choux pastry consistency. I'm gonna try to make some mozzarella sticks with our goat cheese. Is it worth it?
It was when I had a job.
I made a chip. Do you want the chip? Wait, you should put some salt on it.
It's a chip.
Oh my gosh. June. This is the most labor-intensive chip I've ever produced.
But that's good.
Yeah, but I don't want to make any more. Chinese time with June and Samira.
我看你吃 chip.
Yes! 你看我吃 chip. Tastes like a baked Lay's. You just told me you don't like baked Lay's.
It's better than a baked Lay's.
Look at what I did to my pot. We'll just spread this and wait for it to cool down. Okay, so my original idea was to cook the cassava down to a paste that is hard enough to manipulate to wrap around pieces of cheese, so then we can make like mozzarella sticks, but not mozzarella, in the air fryer. But I don't know if this paste is thick enough, and I think it needs to cool a little bit more. So we're gonna make Scotch eggs instead. With our soft-boiled eggs from yesterday and with our scrapple, I'm going to try to make the scrapple melt in my hands and wrap them around the soft-boiled eggs, and we're gonna air fry those, see how those come out, and maybe this will cool down. And I think Scotched eggs get wrapped in sausage and then they get wrapped in breading. But I don't really have breading. I have flour, but I kind of don't feel like making breading. This is my show. I do whatever I want. But I do have these pumpkin seeds that I roasted a while ago, and I could grind these down and use them as like a coating. They have a little bit of fat. They have a little bit of crunch from the hulls. They have nuttiness and protein, fat, and fiber. I don't know if this is gonna work. Yeah. I might have to smash it so that it turns into a paste. When I cooked it, it turned into a paste. And it melted. It's basically mush, so maybe I can just mushify it without cooking it. Did you know that you can microwave stainless steel bowls?
What?
Yeah, should we microwave this bowl right now?
How?
Because I don't think it reacts unless it's like aluminum. So far, no explosions.
I know, I was like holding my breath.
And mush incoming. Should we flavor the pumpkin seeds with something? What would go well on a Scotch egg? Ranch powder? Ooh, what if I flavored it with Pizza Party? I think this is a good consistency. Pizza Party has herbs, it has chili peppers, it has a little bit of salt, and it smells like pizza, and I feel like it would go great with this pairing, no?
Yeah.
Sun-dried tomato powder, garlic, habanero chili, hyssop thyme, oregano, flower bud, sea salt. Perfect. Let's go. It smells still overwhelmingly like scrapple. Oh, it's warm. That feels kind of gross. Nothing like warm mush around your fingies. So I think this is how they make a Scotch egg. I feel like this is pretty good, actually. We are the non-believers, Samira. The yuca is cool and it is malleable. I think this might work. It's like Play-Doh. Yeah, so after that's out, we do cheese sticks and see how it works. A night of experiments with Samira. Oh, this needs to get seasoned. It's like so bland. Yeah.
Comfortably.
I don't know. I feel like right now it would be really cool for me to make a living off of YouTube or get paid to make content for someone else whose cause I believe in. Like, I'm more of a documentarian. Documentarian?
This is BTS.
If I ever make it big, you could just be my buddy assistant and hang out and eat and make commentary and taste test. One who loves food and a hype man. People love. We all need one of those. Usually it's just me. I feel like people really like seeing my friends in these videos. It gives them like a very personal feel, you know? Really completes the vibe. It looks like they started to crack a little, so I feel like this is probably as cooked as they're gonna get.
It's mushy.
Probably still a little bit.
Oh no, it's still soft.
Technically, it should be slightly runnier, but I'll take it. I don't know. I don't know about this. Okay.
I think taste is okay. It's not like crispy. It's just a tougher outer.
We didn't have breading.
Yeah, we have breading.
I think I want mustard and mayo
I think mayo.
and ketchup.
You just douse it.
Why have one when you can have all three?
Ooh, this is the Lidl.
Lidl, yeah. They got some Duke specialties. Whoa. Is my ketchup defunct? Oh no. It's been so out of use. It's forgotten how to serve. Oh my god.
Oh, that mustard is really good.
Right?
Spicy.
We got mustard mayo chop.
You name your creations.
I don't think these things want a name. Some of them want to be obscure forever, so that no fool replicate them. Interesting. Which condiments help the most? You like the mustard, huh? Really a surprise purchase of this week. I think it came in handy in so many things.
You know what the problem is? I served us the egg with the least amount of scrapple on it.
I think I'm okay with that.
I think it would have done better with an actual breading and not pumpkin seeds because it was just like too dry and fibrous and tough. The flavor was good, like you said, but I don't think I'm gonna coat the mozzarella sticks with them.
Yeah.
I think we should pan fry the mozzarella sticks. There we go. Consensus. Now I have to eat all these Scotch eggs by myself. What do you think these mozzarella sticks are gonna be like?
They look really good.
I don't throw away any of this shit. Eat it eventually. Reheat it as I see fit. It's browning. I bought from my mom, and I remember chastising her for not taking care of it because it was rusted. And now mom is dead. I also remember memories of the Instant Pot. She asked me once to teach her how to use it, and I was like, you just need to read the instruction manual. But like that was the thing with my mom though, is like she would always buy these things and then she would never use them. They would just sit. I'm pretty sure she never used the Instant Pot because the tag was still on. So that's mom. Sizzle, sizzle. Which spill do you want? There's your cheese stick. You think it'll be crispy though?
Oh no.
It's not crispy. We have 2 failed experiments in one night. I mean, it looks sexy, but maybe it just don't taste that sexy. Sometimes it be like that. The cheese kind of all leaked. I don't know where it went. Oh, that's hot. That's so hot. How did you eat that? Ooh.
The herbs are really good for the cheese.
Not bad. Crisp. It definitely needs a little extra crisp, but did you try it with the mustard and the mayo and the ketchup?
See, this is how you know it's good, Gina.
I don't want to see cheese again ever in my life after tonight. You know when you eat too much of something and you're like never again, and then 2 weeks later you're like always again? Story of my life. This is slightly more of a success than the Scotch egg. Pretty okay at times. Nice. Got the chippy chip. Yeah.
Look at it from this side.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Melty, gooey, cheesy.
Yeah.
Is it manchego-y? Is it goaty?
Oh, it's so good.
Happy Saturday. First thing in the morning, we went to see Grandma, and then we headed on the subway to go to the Good Food Mercantile show. This took place in Chelsea, and my God. I was there to help out with the Burlap and Barrel Expo. So cute! You've been practicing? Yeah. But also, good God, there was a lot of food. There were chocolates. There were cheese. There were nut butters. There were drinks and snacks and more cheese and more chocolate and hot sauce and pens. There were pens. I love this pen. Thank you. Thank you for this pen. There was not only cheese and chocolate, but chocolate cheese, by which I mean chocolate charcuterie, and it was just immense. I think I have a cavity now in my mouth, but I have no regrets. I went away with so many goodies from today. I'll do a separate taste test video of all these freebies that I got from not only today's show, but tomorrow's show. Because tomorrow we're going to the Javits Center to go to the fancy food show. And that food show will be maybe 8 times as immense as today's was. So I'm gonna be tired. I don't know, maybe I think later tonight we'll eat some leftovers, but right now I just wanna take a shower and go to sleep. There might be a thing as too much chocolate. There might be a thing as too much cheese. But that's why you rest and you do it all over again. The reheated Scotch eggs though, taste way better the day after. I don't understand. Day. It was very packed at the food expo as expected. I might go back Tuesday to get more stuff to do for our taste test video, but for the most part I had a lot of really good snacks. There were nuts, there were drinks, there were ice cream and a lot of cheese, and I just can't get enough of it, but I'm really exhausted. It's almost midnight. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll cook some stuff, I promise. Welcome back to Monday, folks. Today we will be eating leftovers, but we will also be cooking with scraggly amounts of ingredients that are left over from our week of experimentation, and we're gonna start off with some pasta salad that I need to finish off and making some dumpling dough for Grandma. If you watch my lives, you will undoubtedly have seen this dumpling dough being made dozens of times, but in case you haven't, here it is, just 4 ingredients, including salt and
water. We're just going to take the flour and the cornstarch and the salt, mix them all together, and then we're gonna stream in a little bit of hot water. We're gonna work the dough until it's clumped and evenly distributed. I'm gonna stir the dough with chopsticks until it comes together, and if it's still dry, we can add in a little bit of water at a time until no dry spots remain. The most important thing here, as with most doughs, is time. We're gonna let this dough rest for about half an hour to an hour so that everything hydrates evenly throughout. You can work it again after that to increase gluten development, or not if you're lazy, or if you like your dumpling dough a little bit on the softer, tenderer side. If your dough is too dry and it's crackly, add more water, and if your dough is too soft and it doesn't hold its shape like this, add more flour until you get this. Should not be sticking to anything, should be mostly pliable, should hold its shape, and it should be able to be pinched out to a very, 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 very thin plane. My platonic ideal of dumpling dough texture is one that does not require any extra flour when we roll out the wrappers later. While we wait for our dough to rest and the gluten to relax, let's think about fillings. I think I want to make 3 different fillings. I think I want to make a scrapple one, a crab meat one, and a cottage cheese one, because those are the things that we had left. I think the cottage cheese might make a really good dessert dumpling, so I'm gonna add some nutmeg and cinnamon along with some vanilla sugar and vanilla powder, and maybe a little bit of lavender, because who doesn't like to feel pretty? For our scrapple one, we're gonna play up that savoriness by adding a little bit of white pepper and ground citron peppercorns along with smoked paprika, some chili pepper, and grains of paradise for that black pepper pop. For the crab, we're gonna play up the umami. We're gonna be adding some shiitake mushroom powder along with some bonito crushed powder and tomato powder, you know, for a little bit of tart, sweet, and just savory punch. Adding a touch of caraway to lift it with a slight herbal mintiness. But first, a cheese break. In case you thought 2 days of trade shows with lots of cheese and tons of tastings weren't enough, I have more at home. I almost feel like the goatiness of this cheese has intensified since opening it. That wininess really comes through at the end. Quite delicious. For the cottage cheese, we're just going to add some cottage cheese to a bowl and all of our flavorings until it tastes right to us. And from person to person, that may differ, so you'll have to do your own taste tests. Because you know, while I can give you exact amounts and a recipe to follow, I can't tell you what you like. Only you can figure that out. For the scrapple, I'm gonna chop them up into tiny little pieces, place them in a bowl, and add all of our seasonings to mix. That way they are more easily crumbled and easier to put into a wrapper later. Same thing with our imitation crab, chopping it up into small pieces, putting it into a bowl, mixing it with our spices. I think I'm also going to add in a little bit of bay leaf, and we're gonna crack in an egg. Because we don't have a lot of filling, I'm just gonna use the egg yolk. Let's put the egg white in the scrapple. Nice. All right then, I think we're ready to roll out some dough. Looking a bit like ravioli dough, huh? Unfortunately, it looks like I made the dough a little too wet because it's sticking to itself and ripping. So we're just gonna have to re-roll. I'll go ahead and cut the dough in half. That way we can roll it out without adjusting it on our surface. They don't have to be pretty, they just have to be sealed. If your dough continues to be hard to work with, go ahead and flour your surface and rolling pin to prevent stickage. This will incorporate some dries into your too wet dough and even everything out. I'm actually finding that the dough that I made today is a lot weaker than previous doughs I've made for grandma, and I think that might be because we bought bleached, ultra processed flour, which might have lower protein content. I don't know what's happening, it's a mess. In any case, I'll just keep trying my best because it's still edible in the end, right? I'm gonna go ahead and pan sear our savory ones because there's a lot of holes, and I feel like once it hits that boiling water, it's just gonna all fall apart. If we contain it in a frying pan with a little bit of oil and finish it off with steam, higher chance that we can eat it in one bite without the filling turning into soup. Cast iron pan over medium heat, nice layer of oil on the bottom to coat. Wait for that oil to get sizzling hot, then place our dumplings evenly across the surface of the pan, and once they are nice and golden and toasty, we're gonna drop in about 2 tablespoons of water, shut the lid immediately, and let them cook. I thought our dessert dumplings would fare better, but alas, I think something is off with the dough. We have holy dumplings yet again. So we're gonna pan sear our dessert ones as well with a little added oil, same process. All right then, let's taste test, shall we? I no longer know which one's which, but I can tell that this one's probably crab. It looks pinkish on the inside. Not bad. Could use a dipping sauce for sure. Do we think these are Scrapple twins? It works. Scrapple. Not bad. Nice little spice. I'm gonna whip up a very quick garlic, ginger, soy sauce, vinegar mixture. Maybe a splash of sesame. Perfect. Good crunch. Okay. I think we have managed to salvage a very sad situation, but such is life. I don't know about the dessert though. Looks scary. Unfortunately, it does not look like our dessert dumplings are turning out very well either, so you know, we'll wing it. Seems to me these days winging it is all I do. Normally, I like eating crispy crunchities, but not when it's completely black on the other side. You know, do I wish we could part ways on a finer note than this? Yes, absolutely. But do we get what we want most times in life? These days I'm finding out more and more no. But you know, this might not taste horrible. Okay. I think we might need a little drizzle of something. We have this pancake syrup that comes courtesy of Grandma. I'm pretty sure this is all, high fructose corn syrup and caramel color and xanthan gum, but I'm sure it'll do great. What's a little extra trash on top of already trash food, you know? Life. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Honestly, I don't even taste the burnt bits. Am I lying to myself? Maybe, but I would never lie to you. I taste vanilla. I taste not the lavender, but definitely a little bit of the nutmeg. Excellent crunch. If I'm perfectly honest, I also taste a little bit of scrapple grease smokiness, which adds a little bit of lardy diner feel to it. Unexpectedly, I think our savory dumplings definitely won. How much of a victory? I can't say, but definitely a victory over the dessert ones. Mondays be Mondays. What you gonna do? Well folks, I hope you have enjoyed gallivanting with me all about the city this week and eating weird Lidl concoctions. If there are any recipes that you saw this week that you think you would like to recreate, please drop a comment down below and let me know how it turned out. Until next time.